Earth burned against the black canvas of space like a dying ember. The blue marble that had once been humanity's crown jewel now glowed orange and red as cities fell one by one to the Dominion fleet. David Torres pressed his palm against the cold viewport of the HMS Defiant and watched his homeworld die. Smoke and debris filled the space around Earth's orbital defense platforms. What remained of humanity's grand fleet floated as twisted metal and frozen corpses. The Dominion had come with overwhelming force, just as their intelligence reports had warned. 12 alien species united under one banner with a single goal: complete human extinction. Torres had commanded the Defiant for 3 years, but never imagined he would witness this moment. His ship represented humanity's finest achievement in military engineering. 800 meters of reinforced titanium, HUL wrapped around experimental quantum drives and weapon systems that pushed the boundaries of known physics. The crew of 800 souls had trained for every scenario except watching their species face annihilation. "Captain, we're receiving multiple distress signals from the surface," Lieutenant Ray Foster reported from the communications station. His voice carried the weight of a man watching his family burn from space. "The southern continents have gone dark. European command stopped transmitting 40 minutes ago." Torres turned from the viewport to face his bridge crew. These men and women had followed him through 3 colonial wars against the Outer Rim pirates. They had trusted his judgment when facing impossible odds before. Now they looked to him as the last flickering hope for human survival. "Status report on the quantum core," Torres ordered as he moved toward the captain's chair. The bridge hummed with quiet efficiency despite the chaos surrounding them. Red emergency lights cast strange shadows across the faces of his officers. Dr. Amy Walsh emerged from the quantum engineering section looking exhausted but determined. Her usually perfect hair hung loose around her shoulders and her lab coat bore scorch marks from the experimental systems below. "David, you need to see this immediately. The quantum core isn't behaving according to our specifications." Torres followed Walsh to the engineering display where streams of data flowed across multiple screens. The quantum core had been designed to fold spacetime for faster travel between star systems. Humanity had reverse-engineered the technology from captured Dominion vessels during the early skirmishes. But the readings Walsh showed him defied every law of physics he understood. "The core is generating energy patterns we've never seen before," Walsh explained as she pulled up spectral analysis charts. "When we installed the human neural interface system last month, something changed at the quantum level. The core isn't just bending space anymore. It's creating pockets of reality that exist outside normal time." Chief Engineer Tom Bradley joined them at the display with grease-stained hands and worried eyes. "The entire ship is resonating with the quantum field. Hull stress is actually decreasing instead of increasing. We're becoming more structurally sound the longer the core runs at full power." Torres studied the impossible data streaming across the screens. During his academy training, instructors had taught that quantum mechanics remained humanity's least understood science. They had managed to harness basic space-folding technology, but nothing approaching what these readings suggested. The Defiant was evolving beyond its original design parameters. "Sir, Dominion hunter groups are moving toward our position," Foster called from across the bridge. 3 heavy cruisers and a dreadnought closing from the asteroid belt. Estimated contact in 18 minutes. The tactical display showed red icons converging on their location. Torres had kept the Defiant hidden behind Europa's electromagnetic interference while they watched Earth's final battle. The Dominion ships moved with predatory precision, having detected some trace of their presence despite the stealth systems. Walsh grabbed Torres' arm with surprising strength. "David, we could try activating the full quantum matrix. The computer models suggest the ship might be able to phase partially out of normal spacetime. But we have no idea what that would do to the crew." Torres looked around his bridge at faces filled with determination mixed with terror. These people had already lost everything. Earth was dying behind them. The colonies had fallen months ago. Scattered refugee ships fled toward the galaxy's edge, with Dominion hunters tracking them like wolves chasing deer. What are the risks? Torres asked Walsh while keeping his voice steady for the crew's benefit. Complete molecular dissolution, Walsh answered without hesitation. Permanent displacement into quantum foam. Transformation into something no longer recognizably human. Or it might work perfectly and give us capabilities beyond anything the Dominion can counter. Bradley wiped his hands on a rag and shook his head. The quantum field is already affecting the crew. People are reporting shared dreams. Some are finishing each other's sentences even when they're on different decks. We're all connected to that thing down there somehow. Torres moved to his command chair as the Dominion ships appeared on the main view screen. The enemy vessels looked like metallic insects with too many legs and weapons protruding at unnatural angles. Each ship carried enough firepower to reduce the Defiant to atoms within minutes. Conventional tactics offered no hope of survival or escape. Sir, the lead cruiser is charging weapons, Foster reported. They're hailing us on all frequencies, demanding immediate surrender. The bridge fell silent except for the steady hum of ship systems and the quantum core's strange harmonic vibrations. Torres could feel something pressing at the edges of his consciousness. The quantum field seemed to whisper possibilities that his rational mind struggled to comprehend. 800 lives depended on his next decision. Dr. Walsh, how long do you need to prepare the quantum matrix for full activation? 2 minutes if we bypass all safety protocols. Torres stood and faced his crew with the same calm expression he had worn during their darkest battles. All hands, prepare for quantum phase transition. This is either humanity's last desperate gamble or our first step toward something greater than we ever imagined. The Dominion dreadnought fired its main weapons as reality began to bend around the HMS Defiant. Reality twisted like heated glass around the HMS Defiant as the quantum matrix reached full activation. The Dominion weapons that should have destroyed the human battleship passed through empty space where the vessel had existed moments before. Torres felt his consciousness expand beyond the boundaries of his skull while his body remained firmly planted in the captain's chair. The ship materialized 3 light years away in the Vega system without any sensation of movement or time passing. One moment they faced certain destruction near Earth, the next they floated among unfamiliar stars with their hull intact and all crew members alive. The quantum core's harmonic vibrations had changed to something almost musical, like a choir, singing in frequencies that touched the soul directly. "Report," Torres commanded, though his voice sounded strange to his own ears. The words seemed to echo through dimensions he couldn't see but somehow felt. Chief Engineer Bradley stumbled onto the bridge with eyes wide with wonder and terror. "Captain, we're not entirely here anymore. The ship exists in normal space, but also somewhere else simultaneously. Hull sensors are reading impossible configurations. We're solid, but also somehow translucent to certain forms of matter and energy." Dr. Walsh worked frantically at her quantum analysis station while data streams flowed across her screens in patterns that resembled living organisms more than mathematical equations. The quantum field has stabilized but evolved far beyond our original parameters. We're existing in a state of controlled dimensional flux. The ship can phase between realities at will. Torres rose from his chair and immediately noticed the change in his own body. He felt lighter yet more substantial somehow. His thoughts moved with crystal clarity while new senses fed him information about the quantum currents flowing around them. He could perceive the ship not as a collection of metal and circuits, but as a living entity connected to every human aboard. "Sir, I'm detecting something unusual about the crew's neural activity," reported Medical Officer Dr. Lisa Park as she entered the bridge with her diagnostic tablet. "Brain scans are showing synchronized patterns across multiple individuals. The quantum field appears to be creating temporary mental links between crew members." As if summoned by her words, Torres suddenly experienced a flash of memory that wasn't his own. He saw the engine room through Bradley's eyes and felt the engineers' deep satisfaction at watching impossible systems function perfectly. The sensation lasted only seconds but left him with intimate knowledge of the quantum core's current operational status. Lieutenant Foster turned from his communications console with confusion written across his face. "Captain, I just intercepted my own childhood memory from Communications Officer Davis 2 decks below. She was remembering her first day at the academy, but somehow I experienced it as if I had been there." Walsh looked up from her displays with growing excitement mixed with concern. "The quantum field is creating a loose collective consciousness among the crew. We're still individuals, but occasionally sharing thoughts and experiences. This might be the next step in human evolution, or it might be the loss of everything that makes us human." Torres moved to the main view screen where the stars looked different than they had moments before. The light seemed more vibrant, while dark spaces between celestial bodies revealed subtle energy patterns invisible to normal human perception. He could sense the quantum currents that connected every point in space like vast networks of possibility. "Can we control the phase shifting?" Torres asked while testing his connection to the ship's systems. He discovered he could access navigational data simply by thinking about it, as if the Defiant's computer had become an extension of his own mind. "The ship responds to focused intention now rather than manual controls," Bradley explained while running his hands along an engineering panel. "I can feel the quantum drives like they're part of my nervous system. When I think about movement, the ship understands and responds accordingly." Foster suddenly straightened at his station with urgent purpose. "Captain, I'm receiving fragmentary transmissions from human survivors scattered across the galaxy. The Dominion is hunting down refugee ships systematically. They're planning complete extinction protocols for any world that has housed human populations." Torres felt anger rise within him, but noticed that the emotion seemed amplified and shared among his crew. The quantum field carried their collective rage and determination like electricity through a conductor. The ship itself seemed to pulse with sympathetic energy. "We need to test our new capabilities," Torres decided while feeling the weight of 800 lives depending on his leadership. "If we can phase between dimensions, we might be able to strike back without being detected or destroyed." Dr. Walsh pulled up stellar cartography displays showing the local region. "There's a Dominion supply depot in the Kepler system where they're processing captured human technology. Intelligence reports suggest they're reverse engineering our quantum research to enhance their own weapons. Perfect target for our first mission," Torres agreed while sensing the crew's unified approval through their quantum connection. "We'll test our abilities against a facility that poses minimal risk to civilian populations." Bradley grinned with anticipation that echoed through the shared consciousness. "Sir, I think we can do more than just attack. The quantum matrix might allow us to pass through their defenses completely undetected. We could materialize inside their installation and be gone before they realize what happened." Torres felt the truth of that statement resonate through his enhanced perceptions. The Defiant had become something beyond a conventional warship. They now possessed capabilities that could make them ghosts haunting the Dominion's nightmares. But with each use of their quantum abilities, would they drift further from their human origins? "Set course for the Kepler system," Torres ordered while feeling the ship respond to his intention before the words left his mouth. "Time to show the Dominion that humanity refuses to die quietly." The HMS Defiant faded from normal space-time like morning mist, leaving only quantum echoes where the last human battleship had danced between realities. The mining world of Titan 7 hung like a brown scar against the void when the Defiant materialized in its shadow. Torres studied the planet through sensors that now revealed details invisible to normal human perception. Beneath the dusty surface, he could sense the life forces of 3,000 human prisoners working in forced labor camps, designed to break their spirits before their bodies gave out. Torres no longer needed reports from his crew to understand their tactical situation. Through their shared quantum consciousness, he simultaneously experienced Tactical Officer Foster's analysis of orbital defenses, Walsh's readings on the planet's quantum signatures, and Chief Bradley's assessment of their phase-shifting capabilities. The collective knowledge flowed through his mind like a river of pure information. The Dominion has learned from our previous strikes, Foster observed while his thoughts merged briefly with Torres' awareness. They've installed quantum disruption fields around their critical installations. Standard phase shifting might not work. Torres felt Walsh's excitement as she discovered something unexpected in her sensor readings. Her breakthrough became his breakthrough in the same instant she made the connection. The quantum field surrounding the Defiant could adapt to counteract disruption technology by shifting to previously unknown dimensional frequencies. We can phase through their defenses by accessing deeper layers of reality, Walsh announced, though Torres had already begun implementing her solution before she spoke. The ship's consciousness seemed to anticipate their needs while amplifying their collective, problem-solving abilities. The Defiant descended toward Titan 7 like a shadow moving between worlds. Guards at the orbital defense stations noticed brief energy fluctuations on their screens but dismissed them as cosmic background radiation. The human battleship passed through their weapon platforms, like morning fog drifting through a forest. Torres experienced the mission through multiple perspectives simultaneously. He felt Chief Bradley's satisfaction as the ship's quantum drives operated at impossible efficiency levels. He shared Dr. Park's medical readings showing the prisoner's physical conditions. He absorbed Communications Officer Davis's intercepts of Dominion Guard frequencies discussing their brutal treatment of human captives. The ship materialized directly within the largest prison compound, its bulk crushing guard towers and defensive barriers without resistance. Dominion soldiers fired frantically at a target that seemed solid one moment and translucent the next. Their energy weapons passed harmlessly through quantum-shifted hull sections, while human liberation teams moved with supernatural coordination through his expanded awareness. Torres guided rescue operations across 12 different prison sites simultaneously. His consciousness existed in multiple locations at once while maintaining perfect coordination between teams. What should have taken hours of careful planning happened in minutes with the efficiency of a single mind, controlling dozens of bodies. Lieutenant Foster led a team to the northern compound while sharing tactical information directly with Torres' consciousness. The boundaries between individual minds blurred as the crew functioned like neurons in a vast brain. They rescued prisoners with minimal casualties while avoiding harm to Dominion guards who surrendered peacefully. Captain, we're receiving transmissions from liberated humans, Communications Officer Davis reported, though Torres had already heard every word through their quantum link. They're providing intelligence about other prison worlds and something called Protocol Omega. The rescued prisoners' memories flowed into the ship's collective consciousness like tributaries joining a river. Torres experienced their suffering as if it were his own while absorbing critical information about Dominion plans. Protocol Omega represented the systematic extermination of not just remaining humans, but any world that had ever housed human populations. Dr. Walsh made another breakthrough while analyzing captured Dominion data cores. Her discovery rippled through the crew's shared awareness with shocking implications. The Dominion feared humans not because of their military capabilities, but because of their potential for quantum evolution. Humanity represented a threat to the rigid hierarchical structure that kept 12 species united under Dominion control. They're trying to prevent other species from achieving what we've accomplished, Walsh explained while her understanding became everyone's understanding. Our quantum transformation shows that consciousness itself can evolve beyond their ability to control or predict. Torres felt the weight of this revelation settle into his expanded awareness. The war wasn't about territory or resources. The Dominion sought to eliminate humanity because they represented evolutionary change that could spread to other species. The quantum consciousness developing aboard the Defiant might be the first step toward galactic transformation, Chief Bradley reported from the engine room that their quantum abilities were still evolving. The ship could now exist in multiple dimensional states simultaneously, making it effectively immune to conventional weapons while maintaining the ability to interact with normal matter when necessary. They have become something unprecedented in galactic history. The liberated prisoners were transported to the ship's cargo bays, that had been reconfigured into temporary living spaces. Through the quantum consciousness, Torres experienced their amazement at witnessing impossible technology functioning beyond known scientific principles. Hope began to replace despair in their thoughts as word spread that humanity still fought against extinction. "Sir, we're detecting massive dominion. Fleet movements," Foster announced while sharing tactical displays directly with Torres' consciousness. "Admiral Korvax has mobilized the largest hunting fleet in their history. They're converging on this system from 12 different vectors." Torres felt the collective determination of his crew as they prepared for the next phase of their impossible war. The Defiant had evolved far beyond its original design parameters, but so had its human crew. They existed now as something between individual consciousness and unified entity, maintaining personal identity while sharing collective purpose. "Time to disappear again," Torres decided while feeling the ship respond to his intention. "But first, we send a message to every human survivor in the galaxy." The HMS Defiant broadcast on all frequencies as it faded between dimensions, carrying 3,000 liberated souls and a promise that humanity would never surrender to extinction. Deep Space Observatory Station Nova 7 drifted like a metal flower among the asteroids when the Defiant received its distress call. Dr. Walsh monitored the transmission through her quantum-enhanced awareness while Torres felt her growing alarm merge with his own consciousness. The station housed 2,000 researchers from 17 different species, many of whom had refused to join the Dominion's crusade against humanity. Torres experienced the station's final moments through multiple sensory perspectives simultaneously. Dominion battleships emerged from hyperspace like mechanical predators surrounding helpless prey. The research station's shields lasted exactly 47 seconds, against concentrated fire from 6 heavy cruisers before the hull began to rupture. An atmosphere vented into vacuum. "We're 3 minutes away at maximum quantum phase velocity," Chief Bradley reported while his engineering calculations flowed directly into Torres' expanded consciousness. "But their hull is already failing. We might not reach them in time." The collective awareness aboard the Defiant resonated with desperate urgency as they pushed their quantum drives beyond theoretical limits. Torres felt the ship strain against the boundaries of space-time itself while reality bent around their passage. The vessel existed in multiple dimensional states simultaneously, racing through layers of existence that normal matter couldn't access. They materialized within Nova 7's collapsing superstructure to find emergency bulkheads failing and life support systems dying. Through quantum-enhanced senses, Torres perceived 17 different alien life forms struggling to survive in compartments filling with toxic atmosphere. The diversity of species represented everything the Dominion claimed to protect while systematically destroying it. Chief Bradley led engineering teams through impossible rescue operations while sharing his experiences directly with Torres' consciousness. They moved through collapsing sections that should have crushed them, protected by quantum fields that selectively phased matter around their bodies. What remained of Nova 7's crew watched in amazement as humans performed miracles that defied physical laws. Dr. Park coordinated medical operations across 12 species with biology she had never studied before. Through the quantum consciousness, she absorbed medical knowledge from dying alien researchers and used their own expertise to save their lives. The boundaries between human and alien understanding dissolved as shared awareness transcended species. "Barriers. Captain, we're detecting something extraordinary," Dr. Walsh announced while her discovery rippled through the crew's collective mind. "One of the rescued researchers is from the Nethic species. They're crystalline beings who underwent quantum consciousness evolution 3,000 years ago." Torres found himself face-to-face with Captain Thane, a being whose body resembled living crystal formations that reflected light in patterns that conveyed emotional states. Through quantum consciousness, they communicated without words as Thane's ancient memories flowed into human awareness like water filling an empty vessel. The Nethic had achieved quantum evolution during their Bronze Age equivalent when their planet faced extinction from solar radiation. They had transcended physical limitations but paid a terrible price by losing their individual identities for centuries. Only through intense meditation and cultural preservation had they eventually recovered their sense of self while maintaining collective abilities. Your species moves through quantum evolution more rapidly than any we have observed. Thane communicated through crystalline harmonics that the quantum field translated directly into thought. Most beings who achieve this transformation lose themselves completely within the collective consciousness. Humans maintain individual identity while gaining unified purpose. Torres absorbed Thane's knowledge about other species that had attempted quantum evolution throughout galactic history. Most had either failed completely or succeeded only to become cold, calculating entities that no longer resembled their original forms. The Dominion's fear of human potential became clearer as Torres understood the revolutionary implications of their balanced approach. The Dominion builds weapons specifically designed to counter quantum consciousness, Thane explained, while sharing technical specifications through their mental link. They call it the reality anchor. It locks local spacetime into fixed parameters that prevent dimensional phase shifting. Walsh immediately began analyzing the technical data flowing from Thane's memory banks. The reality anchor represented a massive space station powered by artificial black holes that could stabilize quantum fields across entire star systems. If deployed successfully, it would trap the Defiant in normal space where conventional weapons could destroy them. Admiral Korvax had been constructing the reality anchor in secret while his hunting fleet searched for the ghost ship. Intelligence gathered from rescued prisoners revealed that the weapon would be activated within days at the Nexus Nebula, where quantum currents naturally converge to create optimal targeting conditions. Torres felt his crew's collective determination crystallize around a shared understanding. They could use their evolving abilities to simply erase the Dominion from existence, but doing so would complete their transformation into something no longer recognizably human. The temptation to become gods whispered seductively through their quantum-enhanced consciousness. "We're changing faster than we anticipated," Dr. Walsh warned while monitoring neural activity readings across the ship. "Each use of our quantum abilities pushes us further from baseline human psychology. Some crew members are beginning to lose interest in individual survival or personal relationships." Torres experienced this truth directly through his connection to the crew's collective awareness. Lieutenant Foster's thoughts had become focused on tactical efficiency rather than protecting individual lives. Communications Officer Davis processed information with computer-like precision while her emotional responses gradually diminished. Chief Bradley viewed the ship's systems as extensions of his own body rather than external technology. The quantum consciousness offered incredible power but threatened to transform them into entities that might save humanity's bodies while destroying their souls. Torres struggled to maintain his individual identity while wielding abilities that could reshape reality according to his will. The price of evolution seemed to be the loss of everything that made them human. "There might be another way," Thane suggested while sharing memories of the Nethic's long struggle to balance collective consciousness with individual identity. "Your species shows unprecedented ability to adapt without losing core values. Perhaps you can find a path that preserves both power and humanity." Torres made a decision that resonated through every consciousness aboard the Defiant. They would assault the reality anchor directly before it could be activated. But they would do so as humans who had gained extraordinary abilities rather than as gods who had once been human. The HMS Defiant faded from normal spacetime as it set course for the Nexus Nebula, carrying the hopes of multiple species toward a confrontation that would determine the future of consciousness itself throughout the galaxy. The Nexus Nebula stretched across space like a cosmic web of lightning frozen in time. Torres watched through quantum-enhanced perception as the reality anchor station orbited the massive quantum pulsar at the nebula's heart. The artificial structure dwarfed even the largest Dominion battleships, while its dark energy collectors fed power to systems that could lock entire star systems into fixed dimensional parameters, Admiral Korvax commanded his fleet from the bridge of the dreadnought Eternal Dominion, unaware that human consciousness already observed his every move through quantum awareness that transcended normal space-time barriers. Torres experienced the alien commander's thoughts directly, feeling the weight of responsibility and fear that drove the Dominion's desperate campaign against human evolution. The Defiant materialized within the nebula's quantum currents like a ghost ship sailing through storms of pure possibility. Torres felt his crew's consciousness merge more completely than ever before as they prepared for the battle that would determine not just humanity's survival, but the future of evolutionary development throughout the galaxy, Chief Bradley reported. From engineering that their quantum evolution had reached critical thresholds. The ship existed simultaneously in 17 different dimensional states while maintaining perfect structural integrity. They had become something that transcended conventional understanding of matter and energy while somehow preserving the human values that gave their existence meaning. Dr. Walsh monitored reality fluctuations as they approached the reality anchors. Operational range? Her consciousness expanded to encompass mathematical concepts that human minds had never before comprehended, yet she retained her essential compassion and curiosity that defined her as an individual. The quantum field amplified their abilities without erasing their personalities. Activation sequence initiated, Admiral Korvax announced across all Dominion frequencies as the reality anchor began drawing power from the quantum pulsar. Local. Spacetime will be locked into fixed parameters in approximately 10 minutes. The human aberration will be trapped and eliminated. Torres felt the dimensional currents around them beginning to solidify as the reality anchor's influence spread throughout the nebula. For the first time since their transformation, the Defiant became fully solid and vulnerable to conventional weapons. Thousands of Dominion ships moved into attack positions like predators surrounding cornered prey, but Torres had one final option that his crew's collective consciousness had developed during their journey to the nebula. Instead of fighting their quantum evolution, they would embrace it completely while maintaining their core human values through sheer force of will and mutual support. All crew members, prepare for total consciousness integration, Torres announced, while feeling 800 human minds preparing to become something unprecedented in galactic history. We're going to show the galaxy what humanity can become without losing what humanity means. The transformation began as quantum energy flowed through every consciousness aboard the Defiant. Individual minds expanded to encompass collective awareness. While somehow preserving personal identity and emotional connections, they became both one and many simultaneously. Unified purpose expressed through diverse perspectives, Torres experienced existence through 800 viewpoints at once while remaining distinctly himself. He felt Lieutenant Foster's tactical brilliance, Dr. Walsh's scientific curiosity, Chief Bradley's engineering intuition, and Dr. Park's medical compassion all flowing together into something greater than the sum of its parts. They had become truly human for the first time. By transcending human limitations, the collective consciousness reached out beyond the Defiant to touch every mind within the nebula. Dominion soldiers found themselves experiencing human memories of love, sacrifice, and hope for the future. Admiral Korvax felt the weight of human suffering caused by his orders while simultaneously understanding the fear that motivated his actions against evolutionary change. For the first time in galactic history, sworn enemies experienced genuine empathy as consciousness barriers dissolved under the influence of quantum awareness. Dominion fleet commanders found themselves unable to fire weapons against beings whose thoughts and emotions they now shared as intimately as their own. War became impossible when soldiers could feel their target's pain as their own. Admiral Korvax experienced Torres' memories of watching Earth burn while simultaneously sharing his own childhood fears of chaos and change that drove his commitment to Dominion order. The alien commander understood that humans represented not destruction but evolution, growth that could benefit all species rather than threatening established hierarchies. Ceasefire. Korvax ordered across all Dominion frequencies while his consciousness expanded to encompass perspectives he had never imagined possible. All ships stand down immediately. We have been fighting evolution itself rather than an enemy that threatens our survival. The reality anchor systems went offline as Dominion. Technicians found themselves unable to continue operating weapons designed to prevent the advancement of consciousness. The quantum pulsar's energy flows returned to their natural patterns, while the nebula resumed its role as a nursery for stellar formation rather than a battlefield. Dr. Walsh made the final breakthrough as her consciousness merged completely with the Defiance quantum matrix. The evolution they had undergone wasn't unique to humans, but represented a natural progression that occurred when any species reached sufficient technological and spiritual development. Humanity's gift to the galaxy was their ability to achieve transcendence while maintaining the compassion and individuality that made progress meaningful. Torres established the first galactic consciousness network as quantum beacons spread the ability for species to share thoughts and emotions across interstellar distances. The Dominion Council dissolved as member species discovered they could communicate directly rather than maintaining artificial hierarchies based on fear and misunderstanding. The Defiant became more than a battleship as it helped establish new colonies where different species worked together toward common goals. Torres remained recognizably human despite his transformation, proving that growth didn't require abandoning core values or individual identity. His crew became teachers helping other species navigate their own evolutionary development. Years passed as the galaxy entered an age where war became obsolete because true understanding made conflict impossible. The Defiant traveled between star systems not as conquerors but as guides for species, discovering their own potential for quantum consciousness evolution. Humanity had changed the fate of the galaxy not through superior technology but through their unique capacity to grow while remaining true to their essential nature. Torres stood on the bridge of his transformed ship watching new worlds take their first steps toward expanded consciousness. The boy from Earth who had once commanded a desperate last stand had become something greater while somehow remaining exactly who he had always been at heart.